Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the part two of our RGU Union Student Election Question Time event. Yesterday, we spoke to some of our student president candidates, and today we are going to be talking to the candidates for our vice president positions. Open for elections, this campaign is the vice president for community position, vice president for education, vice president for international, vice president societies, vice president sports, and vice president welfare. We will start by hearing directly from each candidate, outlining their manifesto aims, what do they want to achieve, and why you should vote for them. If you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section, and we'll try our best to get through as many as we can during the event and ask them to the candidates. The vice president candidates would have 2 minutes each to speak, to introduce themselves and talk to you, and I'll call them in. First, we'll be going with the vice president for community. So, vice president for community positions, we do actually have 2 candidates for this position. We've got Reeve O'Neill and Daniel Onuchukwu. Presently, we've got Reeve in the room. Hopefully, we'll get Daniel sometime in the room, and if we do not get Daniel in the room, you can also engage with Daniel's profile and manifesto on the RGU Union website, which is www.rguunion.co.uk. Next, we will then have some questions for the candidates after they've introduced themselves, and you have 1 minute to answer these questions. But first of all, Reeve, how are you? How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good.
Very well, thank you. So you've got 2 minutes to introduce yourself. Tell us about your manifesto and why the voters should vote for you. 2 minutes, Reeve.
Hi, I'm Reeve O'Neill, and this year has been such an important year for the community, with clap for arcaders, rainbows on our windows, and this year I knitted for the community and set up RGU Rag Cares to Craft. I'm also the Assistant Editor-in-Chief of RGU Radar and the Secretary-Treasurer of RGU Radio and the Disability and Inclusion Equality Champion. I would like to further develop my roles through helping on-campus wildlife. For instance, did you manage to see the photos of the deer at RGU? They were very beautiful. I would like to make sure that our campus is deer friendly and also plant more flowers for the bees and bird feeders for the birds. I'd also like to work with RGU Union to become more sustainable. For instance, we have the spectacular free sanitary towels, but we could work on this through using sustainable sanitary wear. We could also use fair trade products, for instance, and I would like to work with networking in all the student groups, for instance, through podcasts with RGU Radio and articles for Q&A articles. You can follow me on Instagram at voteforReeve_VP_Community.
Fantastic. Thank you, Reeve, for that brief introduction of yourselves and talking us through your manifesto. We do have a question for you. Just a reminder to everyone watching that if you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to pop them in the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or whichever platform, and we'll be able to pick this up and try to ask them as we go along. So, Reeve, question for you says, when we return to on-campus teaching, how will you ensure that the RGU student community can also make positive contributions to the local community in which it is based? You've got 1 minute to answer this question.
So currently I knit for the local neonatal unit and baby banks. So we're currently already working with the local community. However, I'd like to increase this through whatever skills you have, such as language learning for primary schools, and working with painting for refugees to brighten up their homes. Whatever your skill is, you will have a role to help your local community.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Reeve. Presently, I haven't got any more questions for you. Hopefully, if any question comes in the comment section, I might have some time to ask you. But thank you very much for that introduction of yourself, talking us through your manifesto, and answering the question that we've got for you. I'm wishing you all the best of luck in the elections. But thank you very much, Reeve.
Thank you.
Next, I will be inviting Dorian Macaulay to come speak to us for the Vice President Education position. Dorian is the candidate, one of the candidates for the Vice President position. So, Dorian, you've got 2 minutes to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, your manifesto, what you hope to achieve when you do get the role, if you do get into the role. So you've got 2 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you, Emmanuel. So my name's Dear Macaulay and I'm running for VP of Education. I have previous experience at a partnership level within the university, as I'm one of the current co-SSOs of the School of Health Sciences, and I was also a previous class representative in my first year. So if elective, I would strive to promote a positive academic experience for all students within RGU. So this can be achieved through effective partnership and feedback. So I would plan to work alongside the President for Education, the SSOs, and other class representatives, as well as the general student cohort, in order to ensure that feedback and the positive student experience within RGU. I think we can acknowledge that this year has been a very difficult year for us all, and a lot of students have felt that their education and their academics have been impacted by the situation, despite all of the effort that RGU has put in. So I think next year it will be particularly important as we hopefully move towards a more normal student experience, that we promote the academic experience of each student through partnership and putting in projects and campaigns to ensure that each student feels as though they have the best academic experience possible. If you want to find out more about me and my campaign, you can check out the RGU Union website or my Instagram, which is Darren for VP Education, and that's on Instagram, where I kind of post, and I just post about my manifesto, what I hope to do. So yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. Right on time there, Dorian. I've got a question for you, Dorian, and I'm also inviting everyone watching to please, if you have any question, for this candidate, please pop it in the comment section, and we'll pick it as we go along, and I'll try my best as possible to ask them. My first question to you, Dorian, you've got 1 minute to answer the question. It says, the way we learn has changed drastically over the past year. How will you engage with school officers and the rep system to ensure that their feedback can influence future delivery of teaching across the university?
Thank you very much for that question. And I think that's a very accurate question, given the way in which we're learning and that's changing. And we probably won't return to the more traditional way of learning from now on. So I think through effective feedback gathering, so doing surveys with the students, having partnership meetings, particularly with the student school officers and the class reps, in order to ensure effective feedback. And also an issue that has been maybe previously brought up was communication. So ensuring effective communication through creating documents that show the different communication levels within the university. So I think we have to promote effective communication through meeting with these class reps and student school officers.
Fantastic. I've got a second question for you. The second question says, you've been a school officer in the past year. If you do get elected as Vice President for Education, how would you ensure that the student learning experience is not negatively impacted any further?
Okay. So I think being a student school officer and also class rep and just a general student has really given me that insight into the student experience. So I think a lot of students have noted this year that they do feel slightly disadvantaged given the style of digital learning. So I think we need to gather more feedback. So it's a very new experience for us all, and it's not a place that we expected to be in. So I think we really, really, really need to promote that feedback and that communication just between the general student court, and promote honesty between the students and their representatives in order to ensure that the students feel like they're being heard and that what they're saying is being taken on board. Because I think oftentimes they feel maybe disadvantaged given the fact there's nothing that can be done in this situation. It has to be digital. But from now on, that we need to take that student experience into consideration when implementing new policy and new teaching styles.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Darian.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering our questions. Thank you for your introduction. I do wish you all the best of luck in the elections. But thank you for making the time to attend the question time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dorian. We'll now move on to the Vice President for International. For this role, we do have two candidates, Oluwafunmilola Akinyosho and David Chukwudi. However, we do not presently have the Vice President's candidates on the call. Maybe before the end of the question time, we might be able to get them on the call. But for now, we do not. But you can definitely engage with the Vice President's candidates on. Okay, I think we're getting Lola on just now. Can you hear me? Hi, Lola from Lola. Can you hear me? Aloha Fumilola. I'll just give you a second to unmute. Can you hear me? I think we're having a bit of Wi-Fi issues or connection.
No, I can't.
issues.
Okay. I can now. Your voice is breaking a bit.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can definitely hear you, Oluwa Fumilola. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. You've got hi for me.
Can you hear me
You've
now?
got yes, I can. I can definitely hear you. You've got thank you for making the time to come on to the question time today. You've got
Can hear you. Your voice is cracking.
okay.
Okay. Your voice is cracking a bit, so I can hear you a bit. So.
Okay, I'll just go for the question. So
Okay.
you've got 2 minutes to introduce yourself, tell us about your manifesto, and talk about why you should be voted for, and especially what are your aims and objectives if you do get into the role. You've got 2 minutes. I think we're having some connection issues with Olua Fumilola at the moment. We'll try and see if we can get her back on the call. But moving on from that, if you want to engage with the vice president international candidates, you can definitely view their profiles on our website www.rguunion.co.uk. There you can engage with their manifesto and their aims for being elected into the role. But next, we'll move on to the vice president for sports. And for this category, we've got 3 candidates. We have Umar Asgar, Sian Gulen, and Andrew McDonald. And I'll invite the candidates into the room. Presently, we have Sian and Andrew in the room, and hopefully maybe we might be getting Omar at some point as well. But hi guys, you've got 2 minutes to each tell us about yourself, your manifesto, why you want the voters to vote for you, and especially what are your aims and objectives if you do get elected into the role. So I'll go first with Sian. You've got 2 minutes, Sian.
Hi, so I'm Sian Gullen. I'm the current Vice President of Sport at the Union. So for over the past year, I've been supporting Jordan in her role as President and helping out with anything I can. It's been a bit more difficult virtually trying to get things done. So this year, coming into it again, I'd really like to be able to support our return to sport, which should hopefully happen next semester, but also looking at building on the existing work we've done. So although a lot of the digital work we've done has been digital, bringing that on campus when we can. So looking at tackling safety and inclusion initiatives like training around different inclusion activities, as well as the gender-based violence support that we've already been rolling out. And then also looking at building our committees up and helping them develop a bit more, using my experience through volunteer development outside of university to really help committees shape themselves and build that for years to come. And then building on that through alumni engagement and getting previous members of the club to support committees where they can, support clubs with fundraising, sponsorship, and things like that, and really building on a network that all clubs can use and utilise where they want to, rather than it being case by case basis for each club. And then also building on our social media even more. So Purple Wednesdays has still been around this year. It's been great to see. It's been a great success. Lockdown League the other month was amazing to see the engagement from all the clubs, but not losing that just because we go back on campus, making sure that we can still have that online presence and ensuring that all our members see what we're up to, past members can see what we're up to, and just really improve on that again. And thanks everyone for listening. And you can find my Instagram, which is CG for VP Sport, and find out a bit more about my points there. I've got a video for each point, so if you want to look that up.
Thank you, Sian. Thank you very much. Andrew, I will now invite you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself and your manifesto aims. You've got 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. So I'm Andrew McDonald. I'm a third-year computer science student, and I'm running for the role of Vice President of Sport. So currently I'm the president of RGU Badminton. I've been in this, I've also been re-elected for next year. So I sort of have a little bit of an idea on sort of the management of a club. And I've worked quite closely with our current president, Jordan, to sort of try to develop the club and sort of to figure out how things are supposed to go. So with this year, sort of my aims for the year, if I were to be elected, are to help rebuild and grow the student community. Obviously, with this whole sort of COVID-19 situation that's been going on, I'm sure that many of you sort of would agree in saying that you've maybe lost touch with some of your friends, certainly if you were seeing them regularly in your sports clubs. So what I aim to do is really support clubs in helping rebuild those friendships that you had by running events, whether that's just inside your club or whether it's inter-club events that also lead on to my second manifesto aim, which would be to grow with the student community. And what I mean by that is by allowing clubs to sort of mix with other clubs more readily. So possibly organizing events that would include multiple clubs to try to get people from one club possibly interested in another club, as well as for meeting new people from that club. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andrew, for that introduction. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Sian. Umar, like I said, is presently not in the room, but you can engage with his manifesto in his candidate profile on our website, www.rgunion.co.uk. And now I've got a couple of questions for you, the candidates. You've got 1 minute each to answer the questions. But before I do that, I would encourage everyone watching, if you do have a question or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to pick them along the way. So the first question. Many students have spent the past year stuck indoors all day learning on screens and laptops. What steps will you take to encourage all students at the university to take part in physical activities once we return? I'll go first with Andrew. You've got 1 minute.
So what I would plan to do is to really help encourage clubs and support them in social media postings for various events that they may have, and possibly even organizing events for us sort of in an organized manner for ways that we can get out and about, whether it's specific to your sport or whether it's more generalized, if it was something like going out on walks or just sort of meeting socially outdoors.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andrew. And Sian, 1 minute.
So it leads quite nicely into one of my manifesto points there, where supporting a safe return to sport, that includes recreational sport. So anyone who wants to get involved in sport still can. We're not just going to focus on our competitive members. So making sure clubs feel supported to offer recreational sessions, especially where they feel their membership might have dipped quite a bit and they don't know if they can field a team yet. Making sure that sport's there to build up skills and different levels of fitness for everyone to feel like they can go back to whatever level of sport they were at before lockdown, or just get involved in sport again if they've been out of sport for a while. Whether that's running fitness sessions that are open to everyone who's got a sports club membership, or whether clubs can have individual sessions focusing on different parts of fitness that are relevant to their sport. I know we did have online fitness this year. Not everyone felt that was relevant to them, but looking at how we can tailor that, even if we can't come on campus, to make sure that we can tailor it for clubs and anyone who wants to get involved in their sports.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sia. And I'll come back to you with my second question there. And this is a question I really like, especially being the ethnicity lead for Student Sports Scotland. It says, what steps will you take to ensure that sports and physical activities across the university are inclusive and welcoming to all? 1 minute, Sian.
So one of the main things I really want to make sure is done is that we have inclusivity training for committees especially, but also any club members that are interested. So I was lucky enough to attend a Show Racism the Red Card training in my role as VP this year, which was really useful to see the different ways, also pushing the things we have in the university, getting societies or student groups to come talk to the sports clubs about different ways they can be more inclusive, looking at I know at the AGM we had a motion around transgender rights, so making sure that we're inclusive of people of different gender identities, different ethnicities, and just making sure that we're actually considering equalities within our sports clubs, as well as building on the inclusion work we've already been doing. So looking at different ways that clubs can get involved in that, and having these sessions open to all members to make sure it's seen as just an all university community report approach rather than just for sports clubs.
Thank you, Sian. Andrew, you've got 1 minute.
So I would try my best to work very closely with sort of other student leaders to ensure that we're getting across the correct messages and sort of giving them out at the correct places, so that we can try to make sure that everybody does feel welcomed and that everybody is sort of respected and is happy with sort of clubs, going to clubs and sort of interacting with them. Sorry, hit a blank there. And sort of just also sort of giving people the opportunity to, as Sian said, about sort of to attend possibly inclusivity training and allowing things like that to be available to members and not just necessarily the sort of committee or student leaders.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you, Sian. And thank you for making the time to attend question time today. And honestly, I wish you guys all the best of luck in your campaigns and in the elections. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the Vice President Societies category, where we have Lemuel Asumkao running for this position. Lemuel, thank you for making the time to attend question time today. You've got 2 minutes to sort of introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, the role, why you're running for the role, your manifesto aims, and what you hope to achieve if you do get elected as Vice President Societies. So you've got 2 minutes, Lemuel.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lemuela Sanson, and I'm actually the current VP Societies, and I would love to continue, to be in, because I enjoy it, and I would like to be, supporting societies again, during this coming year. It was amazing. My year as a VP. The past year, we did a lot of things, even though we were online, And since we are coming back to campus, I would like to be there and be that support. I will encourage events and campaigns, and initiatives set by the societies. I'll, stimulate collaboration between them, which is very important because that promotes unity within the union. I'll support as well formation of more societies, so that increases diversity in our union, which is very important. And I will establish, Society Spotlight Week as a staple union event because it was a success last year. So I would like to continue to have that on. So here's the reason that you should vote for me. I would like to be the support for societies and continue to work with them. So you can have this amazing student experience in RGU. That's me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lemuel. I've got a couple of questions for you. Before I do go into the questions, just to encourage again the viewers that please let us know if you have any questions or comments for this candidate in terms of this category. Just pop them in the comment section and I'll try to pick them up as we do go along. And Lemuel, I've got a couple of questions for you. You've got 1 minute to answer these questions, so you can keep your answers quite quick and concise. The first question to you is, what challenges do you see societies and other student-led groups encountering as they transition back to hosting in-person activities, and how will you support them?
I think it will be a bit challenging because I believe for the past year, the presidents, well, they tried though, but the president and the committee of the societies lost a bit of contact with their members and they didn't have a lot of um, contact with new students that came into campus wanting to join society. And one of the reasons that we came with the idea of Society Spotlight Week was to, make sure that societies were promoted. But coming back to campus, I'll make sure I support that in every way, promoting their societies, being there with ideas and things that they may want to do. For example, all this past year, maybe they had a lot of time to think about, what they want to do, returning back to campus. I'll just be there to support them, basically. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lemuel. My second question to you is, you have been vice president societies this year, as you did mention, and you're seeking re-election. And one of the things you mentioned there is Society Spotlight Week, as an initiative you started last year to ensure that societies are known to students so they can join. One thing we picked up, one of the comments from yesterday's question time was around, for example, Indian students not having a society, and possibly there are possibly other students who don't have a society who might be hoping to get a society. How would you support students to be able to get their own societies up and also get these societies known to students who don't know that such things exist at RGU?
Well, I will count on with the exact team, to be honest, and because I believe they will be receiving a lot of feedback from students and they will be closer to them. So from that, I'll be able to see, and from the list of the societies that we have already, I'll see what is lacking and maybe go after those students and maybe ask, do you want to make a society or something like that? And I am sure that would be possible to create societies. Yeah, and I'm actually excited to, go into their work. We'll be in campus, so I think that would be easier. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I've got one more question. The questions come in through social media. So just before you go, Lemo, you're a bit long on my hot seat, but that's fine. The question is, how will you engage first-year students who haven't been as active in societies this year? So how would you engage them?
How? I'll come after you. I'll come after you. I mean, it's what I said previously. I'll make sure societies are well promoted. And being campus, I think that would be easier having that contact. I establish a lot of relationship, a good relationship with presidents this year to know how their society is doing. So being beside them, working with them, I think we can reach those students and, call them to, be part of societies. First year students are new and, they, other than the degree, they want to have fun at uni. I'll make sure they feel included and they have a good experience. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lemuel. Thank you for making the time for question time and letting us know all of your campaign promises and manifesto aims if you do get elected into the position again. I'm wishing you all the best of luck as you seek re-election for the role of Vice President Societies. Thank you, Lemuel. I will now move on to the very last, not last, but the last one for today, the last category for today for Vice President Welfare, where we have Greg Miller running for this role. So, Greg, thank you for making the time for question time today. You've got 2 minutes to tell us about yourself, your manifesto aims and objectives, your campaign promises, and especially what you hope to achieve if you do get elected into the role. So you've got 2 minutes, Greg.
Right. Hi there. Thanks, Emmanuel. So I've kind of stood on 5 core pledges. Now, I became a VP after working with the Tenants Union just about 3 months ago. So I've only been in the role for a short period of time, but I've worked on issues such as accommodation, ensuring that trans and non-binary students are heard and listened to. And this has formed sort of the crux of my manifesto going on to next year. So my first pledge is rent controls. It's important that as we come out of this pandemic, students and international students aren't seen as cash cows. They're not profit. They're students who have every right to have an affordable home. So having rent controls will ensure that housing is affordable and that students aren't giving away half of their rent, especially right now when some students have faced being laid off or have reduced work hours. It's really important we get financial security for students in the wake of this pandemic. My second pledge is to declare a climate emergency and to work with RGU Go Green on creating green policies for the university. There was a clear demand at the AGM for climate change to be at the top of the agenda, and that's something that I'm really passionate about, so I'm more than happy to hopefully help with that issue. I also really want to help non-binary and transgender students feel more safe and welcome at the campus. I think one really core issue right now is making sure gender-neutral bathrooms are accessible to all schools across campus, that they're open, accessible, and clear to find. And that's something that I'm working on this year, and I hope to continue working on that. My last 2 pledges are, I want to make sure that the Grace School of Art's heard. I think the Grace School of Art, through distance, is kind of often forgotten about. As someone who studies at the Grace School of Art, it's a great community. So I want to make sure that we have an elected representative from the Grace School of Art to feed directly to the executive to make sure that we are making decisions that they want to see and it's in their best interest. It's important that all students have a really fair say in how their student democracy works. And my last pledge is I want to support every call possible to create a student social space. It's really important that RGU students have a community. I was at Aberdeen Uni filming interviews. Thanks. I was filming interviews and it struck me how much of a community there is there. I want to make sure that RGU has a social space and bar and we have a student community that everyone can join in on. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you for telling us of your manifesto aims and yourself. I do have a couple of questions for you, and I'm sure I've got one question coming through the social media as well that I would be asking.
Oh, exciting.
Just also continue to encourage our viewers that if you do have any comments or questions, please feel free to pop them in the comment section and I will try to pick them up as we go along. So my first question is, how will you help the union to improve the support it provides to Nightline, peer support, and equality champions to ensure that these less student-led welfare groups can thrive and continue to offer valuable services to RGU students? You've got 1 minute, Greg.
No, it's a great question, and it's something that I've kind of started to make progress on this year. I think it's important that the executive has a direct link to these groups because they do really fantastic work. They're often sort of, we need to promote them more. I think that's really crucial. The union needs to put some resources into supporting them, making sure that their events are heard and acknowledged at the university. They run some really great events like Time to Talk, and as I'm re-elected, I'll continue to do what I've done this year and make sure that they have a direct link to the union, that we support each other, that we raise awareness of some of the great things that they're doing. It's also important so that they have a direct link if they do have any grievances or concerns that they can approach the union. But yeah, they've been great to work with, and I'll continue to do everything that I can to support them.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Greg. The second question says, you've probably answered it halfway, but maybe you can just tell us a bit about how you plan to go about it. It says, what have you identified as a major welfare issue impacting students right now, and how do you intend to solve this?
That's another great question. I think there's two that really come to mind. And a lot of them were there before the pandemic. It's just that this pandemic's exacerbated them and kind of shown them for what they are. So the first one's mental health. Mental health is a really, really big issue. It's important to make sure that students at RGU are supported, that they have access to good quality counselling services. As someone who's used the service before, they've been fantastic. It's important we raise awareness of that. So mental health is a really big challenge. The other one's on accommodation, and this is why my new policy is something that's really important to me. I think a lot of students, in particular international students this year, have been shortchanged. They were promised things and told to come to accommodation, and now obviously we've all been locked down. It's important to make sure that international students and students in halls aren't treated as cash cows. So rent controls would ensure that universities can't put their rent too high. So in university-owned halls, they'd have like a sort of maximum level where they could put their rent, and that's something I want to have because it will have a fair deal for students.
10 seconds.
And the last thing I want to say is I know that for private halls, this will be a much bigger challenge. So I want to work with the NUS Scotland on lobbying at a government level to hopefully get rent controls on private halls as well. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. You've led me very smoothly into the next question that I'm going to ask you there that's coming through social media. It says, how does volunteering help with mental health?
And that's a great question, a really great question. For me personally, I think, like everyone, a degree of honesty is that we've all been through it this year. You know, students have had hours cut, they've had job losses, we've had family trauma. This period of social isolation, especially for first-year students, is not something that's going to come easy. So for me, volunteering, it gave me a sort of purpose, I'd say. You know, I saw how I wanted things to change, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try my best at the university. I'm going to go for things that I wouldn't have normally done. I couldn't have even asked second year me to kind of go for something like this. And it's helped my mental health because I've seen change throughout the uni. I've been far more social. I've been meeting all kinds of different people with really fantastic outlooks. I've managed to be at some great events like Time to Talk, which actively focuses on improving mental health. And I know more about the sort of student-led networks that support mental health. So for me specifically, it's been fantastic because I've got to know people, I've accessed support that's been fantastic. And it's just been a great experience. It's something I definitely recommend. And it's something where I think we've all benefited from it because now, you know, we have these friendships that will hopefully last as we go in to sort of real life learning, whenever that might be.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you so much for making out the time to attend question time today. And I want to say a big thank you to every candidate who have made out the time to attend question time today. If just quickly, I would like to open up that question that's coming through social media about volunteering and how it helps with mental health to the floor. I'm opening the floor to all other candidates who would love to maybe provide a response. Just come into the room and provide a response just now. Reeve, I've got Reeve just now. Reeve, do you want to have a go at the question?
Yes, please. So for me, volunteering during lockdown has given such a sense of community and decreasing loneliness, which obviously a lot of us are feeling, particularly during lockdown. It also gives a particular positive feeling of giving back. This is a duck I knitted, for instance, for a local neonatal unit. And it's obviously using the colours and the creativity to create a character that will help children with their mental health. So it's that positivity that helps overcome depression and loneliness. And I would love to get more people involved.
Fantastic. I feel if you just stay on, Reeve, I'll ask you the other question that's coming through social media, and any other candidate can also have a go as well. It says, how can community involvement, just like volunteering as well, but how can community involvement help with mental health?
So obviously it's the positive feeling of becoming a part of the community in the RGU community campus, but also feeling a part that you are actually part of Aberdeen. So the neonatal units, the baby banks, the refugee centres. We have a lot of skills. We're very talented at RGU, and I want to make sure that everyone has a diverse opportunity to make sure that their skills help. So yeah, it's about the positivity and the overcoming the loneliness with the community.
Fantastic. Thank you, Reeve. I'll open it up to Greg as well. Greg, are you still on the call with me?
Yes, I am. Hi there.
Yeah, definitely. You can have a go at the question.
Thank you. No, a point I really want to pick up on, and this is why I'm really passionate about my pledge to get a social space and bar at RGU, because I'm a communication designer, and I was filming socially distanced interviews at Aberdeen Uni, and they have a great sense of community over there. There's places where the students can socialize, where they can actively shop on campus, coffee shops, and it's a really great environment. It's something where it feels that there is a community. I think RGU, that's something we need to improve on. We need to have a community space where schools from across the uni can sort of collaborate and come together. And that's why I'm really passionate about this social space, because it's important that students from Grays aren't excluded, or that students at Ian Wood feel like they can talk to students at sport. And having a good quality social space and bar, like many other unis have, and they have great success with that, is something that's going to generate more of a community here at RGU, where we are able to go above and beyond when providing the student experience. So yeah, it's a great question, and it's just something I really want to jump in on. But I do also want to say thanks, Emmanuel, for sharing. You've been great.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you. Just before I move on, can I just quickly try to bring on Oluwafumilola again? I don't know, Fumi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now clearly.
Fantastic.
I can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for,
Sorry for
it's fine.
late.
No, it's all right. We're all in the age
the
where
network
we're
seems to be
experiencing.
poor on my side.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll manage. So you've got 2 minutes to tell us about yourself, your manifesto aims, and what you hope to achieve if you do get elected as Vice President International. 2 minutes, Fumilola.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Oluwafumilola Kisho, and I'm a postgraduate student in Masters in Information Technology with Cybersecurity, and I'm running for the post of Vice President International. And one of my main objectives as a Vice President is to have support as helpline, that's support line for international students. I noticed when I came in here as an international student, not only me, most international students were I won't say dumbfounded, but one of the issues we had was that we were new to this area, and leaving our home, coming from a far distance, coming to a new environment, we know nobody, we have nobody here. So this help support line is to help international students. You can just call in at any time. It's just dial in the number, and it will help you, reach through to any, student or any staff on the ground. And this support line is for it can be that for international students, both those EU and non-EU students, and those that are English speaking and non-English speaking students, so that anyone who can't speak English can actually reach through someone that can reach through your language preference. And also in the aspect of communication, I noticed also one of the good. I want to also thank the RGU Union for what they've been doing so far. I noticed also in a little bit of lack of communication with the RGU Student Union with international students, in the sense that there is no feedback. We international students hardly get, being able to communicate with the RGU Union. Okay, and also will be support, welfare support for international students with family that are coming overseas, coming all the way from their country down here with their family. There'll be a welfare support for them, and also job creation for international students that is within RGU University. That's RGU will be able to provide job opportunities for international students within the university and outside the university. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry for being late. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Fumilola. I've just got one question for you, and you have 1 minute to answer that question. Can I just also encourage that if you have any question at all for Fumi, please pop them in the comment section, and I'll try as much as I can to pick them up. You've mentioned some of the big challenges that you've seen, that you've experienced as an international student, and talk about how you may want to work to solve some of these challenges. But in terms of celebrating diversity, cultural diversity, and equity and equality, especially in terms of the diverse international student nationalities that we have at RGU, do you have any? What would you do to celebrate that cultural diversity at RGU as Vice President International?
Yes. Okay. Yes, there will be a cultural event. That's one of my main plans, that there will be event projects that we as a team, if I get there, that work as a team with the RG Union Board, as the president and so on, and we'll work on a project that has to do with cultural events that will help, that will bring along all international bodies, that's people from different diversity coming together, that's cultural events, and also what they call it, that's international events, and also we have other educational events also that will bring along international students together.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for me. Thank you so much for making out the time to attend question time today. I wish you all the best in the elections. Thank you very much. Before I wrap up, I just want to ask if any of the candidates have any final words. Lemuel?
Hey, I'm back. Thanks, Emmanuel. I just want to say that to students that are coming in for the next year, right? If I win the elections, of course, please make sure you contact me on my Instagram page if you want to join in society, if you feel lost, if the website doesn't give you enough information or something like that, just reach out to me and I'll make sure you join any society and you get, cracked. Just pop a message. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Lemuel. Thank you so much. Can I just quickly say massive thank you to all of the candidates. It is very, very encouraging to see you guys come on and run for these roles and be able to engage in question time and talk about your manifesto aims and objectives and what you'd like to achieve for the student body. I wish you all the best of luck in the elections. But most importantly, I want to thank everyone who has joined us today for question time. The viewers, you are the real star. A big, massive thank you for watching and for submitting your questions as well and engaging with us in the comment section. I can't thank you enough. But remember, do not forget that voting is still open now at www.rguunion.co.uk, and you have until 2 p.m. on Friday to cast your votes. You have an opportunity to go on our website to read the manifestos, watch campaign videos, and find out more about the candidates on the union website. From me to everyone, first of all, good luck to all of the candidates. I wish you all the best of luck. And to everyone watching, thank you very much for joining us. And see you next time.